And guys, welcome back to IFBB Broadcast episode 3, up to 3. So we're not kicked off the air yet. Welcome, Alex.
Good counting there. Good counting.
Mate, school is worth something. Do you know what I mean? In the end, it was a little part that did. How are you, bro?
Yeah, good man. Yourself?
Yeah, good man. Good. Just
What are
just
we?
chilling.
Week one of your contest prep now?
No,
Week two?
week three
Three.
now.
Fuck, it's
Yeah,
flying.
week 3.
Isn't it?
Just about almost 8 kilos off. I had another food drop. Just Dean tried to get some more food out of me quickly. Just the residue in the stomach more than anything else. Just trying to empty it before we fill back up. That makes sense. And and he had a really good drop, so I just felt better again. You know what I mean? I'm starting to, when I pull up into it like a front double, I can sort of really pull in now, if that makes sense, through the stomach area. So I just feel better all around. What about yourself? I saw a little recomp phase for you. So more food,
Yeah,
or
we've had a little bit of food go back in the last week, which was nice. It's funny because like I was getting tired, but I wasn't really. I suppose I mean I did say last episode I was starting to get hungry, so it was probably starting to get that point. But it's been a nice welcome, the additional food this week. But it's funny, man. Like once you put more food back in, your appetite starts to drive again. So I've actually been way hungrier this week than I have in previous weeks. So,
well, I suppose once you put that extra food back in, the metabolism just fucking shoots up, and then you become hungry again as well. So I think that's why it's good to when I start dieting, I tend to really simplify my food.
I'm the same.
I normally have some simple sugars in there because of just how much carbs I still have to eat while I'm dieting, if that makes sense. So I've still got some cereal in there or whatever else. But personally, I like to pull it back as much as possible just to limit the flavors, because the more flavor you have, the more you're going to crave. It's one of those things.
Absolutely.
So
it's funny. I've had this conversation multiple times this week. It's always the guys that come up with all these U-Butte recipes, I guess you would say, to try and cheat their cravings. And oddly enough, these guys that are really, really creative, not all of them, but 90% of them, never come in shape. I wonder why that would be.
Oh, they're probably following the macro approach, you know what I mean? Macro approach, and just making it as they go along. Look, I'm a big believer in meal plans, especially because it's competition. I just, one, I don't want to think about it. I want to just follow.
Yeah, sure.
2, if it fucks up, I want to blame someone. And 3, it's just because, again, I just think that if I'm sitting there trying to think up all this yummy shit to eat, like I lose the whole point of what I'm fucking doing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm competing in the bodybuilding contest. It's not about the taste at that point in time.
Yeah.
I still enjoy when you're dieting, fucking rice tastes great, for once in your life, and general things like that. So
it really tastes great.
But the simpler you can make it, I think that obviously the more joy you get out of those simple foods and the less cravings that you have. But look, just while we're stuck on the cravings, because nice to get some other input on that one as well. We do have a couple of guests for this week. So last week we had 1 guest. This week we're going 2 guests. So we just shot it right up there. I'm going to introduce the first one now. Let me just bring him to the front stage. Give me a second here. So, look, this man needs no introduction to the Australian bodybuilding scene. He has been around for much longer than me or you probably, seen and done it all before. But he is none other than, any second now he'll join us, Jimmy Sadek. Jimmy, how are you, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, very, very well. Thank you. And thank you for joining us on episode 3.
No, thanks for inviting me. I'm honoured and privileged. I watched your other 2 podcasts. Mike, you were fantastic. Alex, you were but what I will do for you today, Alex, what I will do for you today is make you look like a sitcom.
Mate,
I'm going to make you look
good. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off.
Text message request. Alex asked me to make him look good today. So any compliment I give Alex, it's sincere.
We can tell.
One thing is I'm going to invite our other guest on now as well, and she will probably make all of us look good because really the beauty to us beast, if that makes sense. But this young lady and another IFBB Pro in bikini needs no introduction. She's had a huge rise to success across the amateur stage, and now in the pro ranks, planning her debut coming up soon, but none other than IFBB Pro, Laura Young. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me. You boys are so entertaining to listen to.
Thank you for joining us. As we said before, we want to keep this obviously, especially when we're looking at results, which include other women. We definitely want to have that perspective from a woman as well, not just a bunch of dudes sitting around watching chicks in bikinis, even though it's probably what we do for a living anyway. Coaching men and women in trunks and bikinis. But no, thank you for joining. Thank you. Before we introduce you guys properly, we Alex and I were just talking about we've both started prep now for dieting, for shows. So we are dieting, so to speak. I'm 3 weeks in. Alex, you're a bit further, maybe 5 or 6 weeks in.
6 or 7, actually.
And so we'll talk about people who choose to try and cheat the system, if that makes sense, and come up with all these fancy foods and use artificial sweeteners and shit during those early to later stages of middle to later stages of contest prep. Obviously, when you get foods low, you want to try and people think you should try and make your food as yummy as possible. And I was saying that when I start dieting and when the further I get into it, the simpler I like my food to be, because I find that if I have more yummy shit, I just crave more yummy food. And that makes it technically harder when you are having cravings later in dieting. But you guys have obviously both dieted before for contests, Jimmy, many times, Laura, also as well. What do you guys think? Do you prefer to try and spice up the food and make it as yummy as possible using those 0-calorie options, or do you keep it as plain as possible? Jimmy first.
Who first?
Jimmy, go on.
I just get my food prepped for the week. I pick it up at the end of the week on Friday. I don't ask for sauce, flavoring, marinade, herbs, spices, salt, pepper, nothing. On the odd occasion, if I get a bit of a craving, I add a little bit of sauce. But usually it's just simple, just chicken, rice, potato.
And that's sort of like, off-season growing, or even in prep doesn't really change?
No, I do it 365. Like, I have my weekend cheat meal, or I've been dieting lately, like 5 days low, 2 high, something like that. That's what I did for my last prep. But 365, I try and stay lean. And if I eat shit, you know what it's like when you're heavy, Mike and Alex. Even 5 kilos of just like water weight or just like rubbish weight,
residue in the gut, yeah.
It's just uncomfortable, and I'm on my feet a lot for long hours every day, and I'd rather stay as light as I can. So, and it's way easier to just grab my meal, put it in the mic, eat it, and then I'll enjoy the meals I eat out.
Well, and forgive me if I'm wrong there, but when you went out, I'd assume that would be with the family or friends. So it's more of a social thing as well. It says I
call them like my meals that they're just not around anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'll always eat clean.
Yep.
But if I go to dinner or I take my wife out, I go to breakfast with my son, whatever, I eat. And there's no I have to fit these macros. It's I eat. You know what I mean? There's no.
I actually, when Jimmy was down in Melbourne once, he said, "What's a good cafe to go to for breakfast?" And I thought he just trained legs with he trained legs with some famous chef,
Shane DeLeo, like a famous chef,
chef restaurateur down from Melbourne. But he goes, "Oh, what's a good cafe?" I thought he's going to go have a big, dirty breakfast. I do remember seeing posts from Jimmy in Thailand with pancakes and ice cream. I think post training, but that was maybe a long time ago.
No, that was Thailand was 6 days training 3 times a day, cardio, weights. No, 4 times cardio, weights. I had nothing else to do. And then, but the Sunday, that was my off day, but that was off everything day. So I could eat all day. If I chose to, and I did.
I do remember following those posts. I remember a photo with pink shoes, and you had your back to everyone, and those fucking calves were sticking out like fucking crazy. You were crossing the road or some shit with your dog or something like that. I remember.
Yeah, no, that one was a photo shoot post-com.
Yeah, Charles did that, didn't he? Yeah,
yes.
I remember seeing those calves thinking, motherfucker. Ridiculous. But anyway, the story goes, I sent Jimmy down to a local cafe to me in Port Melbourne, Hurricane Hanson's. And I thought I'll go there afterwards because it's my favorite cafe, and I'll just ask what he had to order, because I'll just see what he had. And I think he ordered like fucking 24 eggs on like 2 pieces of toast or something. So It was clean, but it was just a lot of eggs.
I got 10 eggs, 10 bits of bread, and then just basically all the sides.
All the sides.
Salmon, mushroom, feta, tomato, spinach.
Whatever they had.
Talk about a feast.
Talk about it.
And don't ever take him to sushi. You'll be there all day.
Yeah, I fucked you up at sushi.
Huh?
I fucked you up at sushi.
Oh, man, I was on.
I think I remember seeing Jimmy at a Parramatta sushi train before I even started competing years and years ago. Did you ever go to Parramatta sushi train, the one under the bridge?
Yeah, I would have been there. I know the one.
Yeah, I remember seeing just fucking a stack of like 24 plates beside him, and he would just keep fucking taking the plates off.
Sushi train is dangerous. Like, it's real good, but you get there and you just start eating. But I can't leave without. I don't get full. I don't get full. I spent that day we went after the shoot, Alex. That was easy 250. That was almost 30 plates.
Yeah. There was. I think there was just under 30 plates, and you didn't even look like you were slowing up.
No, I had to leave. They made me leave.
You just stopped because we stopped eating.
Laura, what's your go-to during dieting? Do you prefer to keep it tasty with the I suppose the added on no calorie sauces and shit like that, or do you keep it clean? What's your style?
Nah, I keep it clean. I switch my brain to food is fuel, food isn't for taste. So I go meal plan all the way. If I get any craving, it'll be a change of protein powder or something like that just to get the flavor that I want in. And if I really, really want to, I'll change some kind of a seasoning with chicken. So I'll go paprika or I'll just go plain salt and pepper. But mine is super, super simple. Like, my family gets so bored of seeing the same meals, even in off season. They're just like, "What are you eating right now?" I'm like, "Well, it's got some mustard on it this time."
Well, I actually really like changing my protein up during prep as well. Like I change the flavor, whatever else. I stick with the same brand, but I just change the flavor around, and that's enough variety for me as well. Actually, so it's a good point, that one. Just changing the protein flavor can totally change the way it tastes that day for sure.
100%.
You know, a mad diet hack that I've found. You know the Hydrolyte ice blocks?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have one of those every single night for dessert. There's nothing in them.
Fuck. Different flavor.
And when I'm really like low, like not low in like food, but the less body fat I get, the hungrier I get. It's weird.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll even have one when I go downstairs and do cardio of the morning. There's nothing in
calories,
and it's like you're eating a
I've never
supernoodle.
looked at them.
I'm telling you, and they had so many fucking flavors.
Yeah.
I've heard of that. And I've
You
heard
walk
of
out of the chemist in boxes.
that airplane diet jelly as well. A lot of people have that these days.
Yeah, I've
Just
heard of
change
that
the
too.
flavor.
I'm telling you, the Hydrolyte ice blocks are fucking way better.
All right. If I ever get to the point where I'm that long, Cals, I need a
I'm gonna
Need a little pick me up.
I tell you what,
I'm telling you.
Out of interest, Laura, what's your sort of calories on a prep being a bikini pro? What's the highest you go to in a growth phase or so far, and what's the lowest you've got to last prep?
At the moment, I'm currently on 2.5, so 2,500. The lowest I've ever been on, I've never gone below 1,200, but that was my first ever prep because we had a lot of body fat to lose for first prep. And then ever since then, I haven't dropped that low. I think my second prep, we didn't go any lower than 1,700.
Okay.
And then the one that just came around, I think we were 1,300. But that was for the last 2 weeks, just to get that real good last little layer of fat off.
And what was your stage weight at those Cals?
Roughly 48 kilos.
48, okay. It's high for 48. That's not too bad, actually. It's really, really good.
How tall are you?
Yeah. How tall am I? Well, I was height class B. I think I'm 161 centimeters. Roughly.
5'4".
Like 5'3", 5'3"-ish.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Decent metabolism, man. Obviously, look, how much food you have to eat is totally, irrelevant to the way you look and whatever else type of things are. I try and tell people all the time, if I could eat less food, I fucking would 100%. Like, trying to eat to grow in an off season setting, 8,000 calories a day. Like, my stomach is fucking stretching, number one, which I fucking hate. So I try and split my meals up into as small as possible to try not to stretch the stomach. But then, I prefer to eat big meals mentally, if that makes sense. I prefer to eat more and then move on and then have longer periods between meals.
Yeah. Do you find that, if your meals are longer and you're eating them for longer, you actually get bored of eating, so then you don't feel like you want to eat? anymore.
Yeah, I just feel like I want to get as much food down as possible, then have as big a break as possible between those meals, rather than
Look,
eat a small meal every 2 hours.
Yeah.
bulking's the pitch.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like I would rather starve 10 out of 10 times than be full all fucking
Yeah, I
day.
agree.
And you listen to like the top coaches these days, and all they talk about is when deciding when they're talking about like athletes and who's got real potential to take it to the next level and whatever else, and all they talk about is, if that athlete they're talking about, can grow on the smallest amount of food and the smallest amount of drugs, because ultimately it's got to mean the best look long term for them, if that makes sense, because they're not having to dig deep into the obviously the drug barrel, or stretch the stomach and do all this stuff to their body just to achieve those bits of growth. So people who grow on less generally will have a better chance at obviously achieving their peak and achieving a long-term success in bodybuilding, I think, as well. So I think that the key is to try and obviously optimize recovery, rest, and all your health type thing, and then eat as little as possible, enough to grow, obviously, but as little as possible. And don't think it's an eating contest out there. It seems to be like lately, some people think like
they pride
it's a
themselves
fucking eating contest.
Food.
Yeah, who's on 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 calories? And it's like, fuck, who really cares? You don't hop on stage and no judge is going to ask you, what's your stage? What's your maximum food do you eat during off season? No one gives a shit.
No one cares.
No one cares. So yeah, I think
I remember back in the day. So, I'm 40. I started competing when I was 15. So what's that? That's 25 years.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what the fuck calories I was on. I just followed my plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got given a plan. My first plan had heaps of fruit in it. I should get back to that. But I didn't know what like I knew what a calorie was, but I didn't know.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter what calories were.
I saw whoever was looking after me for the show. He gives me a piece of paper. I go follow it for a week or so. I come back. He scribbles out on a piece of paper and puts something different on it, and I'll go and do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with steps and all that kind of stuff. It's like cardio was, to me, was okay. Your day is your day. If you're more active throughout your day, you're obviously going to eat a little bit more than the person that's not. And then, okay, you're doing cardio. Cardio is 30 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes post workout, whatever, regardless of your step count. Oh, you're not lean enough. Okay, do more cardio. It's very complicated these days.
Well, I think that some things get overcomplicated, just for the sake of bro science and obviously, science says this and this, this, you should burn X amount, whatever else. But it can get, bodybuilding is the one thing where it's like some things happen and you can't fucking explain why exactly, and it's okay. Like no one knows why growth hormone increases like lipolytic, systems or functionality within the body. No one knows why growth hormone causes you to burn more fat. It can't be explained, but it fucking does, right? So it's like sometimes science goes beyond, right? Bodybuilders through history are known to be, hey, we're going to fucking try something, and then science comes along and tries to prove why it happened, if that makes sense. So bodybuilders will do something, we try it worked, and then the scientists come along and try and prove, well, why it worked. What was the metabolic function or pathway, or what happened in the body's systems to actually make that process possible. So we try shit, and then if it works, we keep doing it. Do you know what I mean?
And often we've actually been ahead of the, or as you said, like often we have been ahead of the curve, or ahead of the science. And
science comes along after.
You often we've seen these science-based guys come in and bag what it is that the bros have done previously, because they can't prove that it's at that point in time. They can't prove that it's somehow generated a result, and then all of a sudden you see, like years down the track, everything that they've been knocking, like partial reps, for example, like working in the length and range. That's a prime example. Like at the moment, everyone's fucking talking about it, and it's like, yeah, dude, like they were doing that before you started, Jimmy, right?
Yeah, I think that ultimately, it's most approaches will work as long as you fucking work and follow the plan. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is there a perfect plan? There's no perfect plan, but the best plan is the one that you can follow. The like as close to 100% as possible.
Yeah, don't say just do.
No, it's like,
and I find that the more the scientific coaches and that, they're the quickest ones to bag others out. Whereas the bro guys or the bro trainers, they're like, oh yeah, that could work. Oh yeah, if it works for you, that's good.
A bit more open
You know,
minded to it for sure.
yeah, like
Yeah, I think that look at the end of the day, I think that the worst thing that I ever hear is this is whatever way. This is the only way. Like my way, whatever I'm trying to sell or promote or spruik. Yeah, my way. You know, like I had a problem with Recomp back in the day. I thought Recomp was great. I love the app. You know, I love what I love Damien's energy and everything like that as well, and Adam. But the problem was one time I went into the Recomp clinic after I was following the program, and Adam was sitting down with me and said, "If you guys know Recomp, it was a program you follow on your phone, and but all about beating your 1 rep max in your lifts, which is cool." But I went in one time and I used barbecue sauce on in my meal plan, and Adam was like, "Oh, it's not in your meal plan though." I said, "Yeah, but I just used a little bit of low sugar barbecue sauce." He's like, "God didn't make barbecue sauce, so you shouldn't have it." I'm like, "Well, fucking God didn't make whey protein either." But it was it, and then he started bagging out he's like Milo Sasev, he's a meathead idiot, doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, you guys are fucking one of the most successful pros of all time, and coaches multiple winners. So my point is, their approach was, well, Recomp way is the only way, and that's it.
Yeah.
When it's like, no, that's it, the extremism in that is where I fall short of, is where I drop out, because I think that, as I said before, most plans will work as long as you work and follow the plan. Do you know what I mean? Comes down to what you enjoy, what you can stomach, what you can handle. All that shit comes into play. Not just this is the only way. And the problem with a lot of coaches these days is they're too one-dimensional. Excuse me.
We have a surprise guest in the building.
Yeah. Is they're so one-dimensional in their approach, where the plan they're showing someone is simply what they've been handed by another coach at a point in time, and they're just handing that down through their clients. It's the same thing repeated over and over again. And as soon as you get a client that comes along and is like, "Hey, I don't like this approach," or "I don't respond to this approach," they struggle to find a way around that.
What's the client's fault then? It's the client.
They don't know anything else. They don't know anything else.
It works the same with training as well.
Yeah.
Like you've got so many different ways to train, but this way over here could be the absolute duck's nuts of training, but I might find it boring as batshit. So it's going to be shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember when progressive overload was massive? It was more when Josh was doing it, right? And then everyone started doing the progressive overload, blah, blah, blah. The last thing I want to do is sit down in between sets and write in a fucking book or my phone or whatever. I couldn't be fucked. If I was forced to do that, I just wouldn't train.
And so, Jimmy, you're probably one of those guys where you can go into a session, you want to feel it out as you go, and but in your mind all the time, you'll have the numbers in mind. You're like, yeah, I know on an incline press what I can press normally for 10 or 12. And then it's just about hitting that numbers, and then you'll base it off how do I feel the next exercise by then probably change it to the next one.
But then if you're feeling like shit too, or you've had a bigger day than usual, you know not to go down that kind of stronger route. You kind of put a little bit more volume in or change the exercise.
But, I agree with that, but I also disagree with it at the same time, because I'm a big logbooker. I very much follow progressive overload. But I definitely appreciate the theory of what you're saying there, as in regards to if you had a big day at work, been in the heat or whatever it may be, you know that you're not going to be able to achieve your scores that you've set from the week prior. So that's when I guess a level of training maturity needs to come into things, and you need to understand, okay, well, it would be absolutely fucking stupid for me to try and match the scores from last week. So rather than me try and take a load win or a rep win at that same load, it's going to be smarter and probably safer if you're a larger individual that's moving a lot of weight to pull the load back and then go for potentially, just try and match the level of volume that you got on the previous week, rather than, as I said, sticking 100% to, that's the load that you've got to do. I don't disagree with being able to feel things out.
No, but everyone's different. I judge my workouts on my pump. Yeah, if I get a good pump, then I think that's to me is a good workout. But I haven't got the luxury of sleeping regularly 8 to 10 hours a day either, or my days structured the same way every day. My days are super different. So on my lower work days, I train more. On the big work days, I don't train at all. And if I have to train, I just chase a pump.
I think that the pump though, it can be determined a lot by not the work during the session, but by your how you're set up before the session. So how many meals have I had? How much sleep did I manage to get that night? Whether it's 3 or 4 hours, whatever your usual is. How much water did I drink, and whatever else as well. All these things affect the pump. I hate training and not getting a pump. Like, it's fucking worse for me. I think that personally, a lot of lifters, especially in their infancy, should go through and try to track their workouts to learn what numbers they are, because they haven't got that fucking that natural instinct in the gym that you have, Jimmy, now after 25 years of knowing, I know I can fucking lift 3 plates for this many reps in this exercise. If I don't, then something's off and I've got to move on or change it. So,
but I think I did that when I was younger anyway, because I was a bit of a weird cunt. I was good at math. No good at English, but good at math.
Yeah,
so I can remember.
Do you only think you were a weird cunt back then, or are you still a weird cunt?
I'm older. I'm an older,
wiser cunt now.
Yeah, older and wiser cunt. But I could remember the weights that I lifted workout to workout.
So if people are bad at that shit, then they probably should try and track something along the way, and then get the feel. And then it is I thought that I was like a real high intensity guy, Dorian Yates style guy, and then that was it, because I built fucking like my legs from that style of training, like putting 1,000 kilos in leg press, but progressively working up to that. And doing, reps like my nose bled, if that makes sense. Like fucking, and that was my one set and I moved on. But then I got to a point and Dean showed me volume. And it's like I went from doing this high intensity stuff to like volume. And my first fucking, that first changeover of my block, if that makes sense. Like my shoulders had never been so round before. Like that was the focus. So I think that, like, again, through your training journey and your career as a lifter, whether you're professional or amateur or hobby builder, whatever the fuck you are, like, obviously try everything and see what you enjoy the most. But I think that you have to get strong is a key fucking fundamental to anyone. Get strong to some degree with your training. Like, lift some actual fucking weight. Don't go through and just chase a pump your whole life. No, actually fucking chase some numbers and get strong. And 2, like, log your progress for a certain period of time until you get to a stage where it feels more natural to go in there and then know, okay, instinctively, this feels good. Or, I've had a shit day. This feels good. You know what? I can't feel this fucking incline press at all. I'm chucking that in the bin. I'm going to a machine or whatever else. Do you know what I mean? Laura, as a bikini pro or athlete, a lot of people think that men and women train differently. What's your take on all that in your journey so far? What were you saying? Does it make sense, or is it totally foreign to what you've
Oh, no, it totally does make sense. I think it's different in an aspect of we have specific body parts that we need to train more than others. Whereas, do you boys mostly need to train everything once a week? Like, what's your training split?
We're chasing balance and symmetry all over. So if we have weaker arms, we might throw some more volume towards that. If weaker legs, Alex hamstrings, then we might throw some more hamstring towards that. But
cool down.
But on the flip side, you might do it less too, mate.
Pardon? You might do it less too. Correct.
You might pull the volume back too. It's so fun.
You're trying to chop and change to see what your body part responds best to as well. So our splits, though, will change, generally speaking, depending on what we need to focus more attention on. And then during like a prep phase, it's more retention focus, so it might be more balanced for volume as well. So where I know when I program for my bikini athletes, obviously I am focusing more towards the glutes and hams and trying to enhance that silhouette. There's not much chest. There's some shoulders as well. And then wellness athletes, most of them are training very little to no upper body at all because, they're trying to make that obviously disproportionate between lower to upper. So, as a bikini athlete, I understand the fact that you might prioritize certain parts more than others.
Yeah, 100%. Like, especially for now being a pro, like getting judges' feedback from my pro show, a lot of them said don't train your upper body pretty much. They're like, your upper body's perfect, just grow your quads. That's all that they really said. So a lot of my training at the moment is progressive overload in my quads, which is one of the easiest body parts to progressively overload, I find. So a lot of it also depends on your training style. So when I first started, I wasn't doing very well with being able to go to failure. Whereas now, if I don't go to failure, my workouts aren't good because I know I've got so much muscle and it's so strong that it needs to go to that failure point to be able to grow. So
you've experienced that stimulus now. So it's like anything below that seems like it's not worthwhile for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And until you get there, it's like you don't know what it is.
Exactly. So it takes everyone time to know how to train their body the way that it should train and to its limits that I know that they can go to. I'm just like pushing weight that I've never even thought that I could push before. Because I've never trained quads in bodybuilding before because they've always been way too big. But then going overseas, they were too small. So
crazy.
yeah,
Are you
now
a
it's just
logic
like
person or you're an instinct person? Do you like to track your training or do you like to just go with feel?
I like to track just because I love being myself from the week before. But especially for a woman, when you're coming to that time of the month as well, you do get quite fatigued very quickly. So you do need to be aware of, should I push this far or should I pull back just a little bit for a few days, let my body do what it needs to do, and then I know I can push further after that. Otherwise, you just injure yourself.
Yep, totally. That's a very good point as well, and something that I know Alex has to deal with once a month as well. So, well, before this, we said Jimmy was going to make Alex look good in this episode, so I'm going to make
rough boy.
Someone's going to be good cop, someone's going to be bad cop.
Look, guys, I want to just quickly move on, and Jimmy, obviously, 25 years, as you mentioned, you've been training, so that's a long stint in this game, man.
It is a long time.
Okay, let's put this into perspective. I'm 25 years old. You've been training the whole time I've been alive.
So 25 years, three. Are we talking? We're talking 52 weeks in 25 years, 6 sessions a week.
Yeah. Well, Alex, me and Gally, when it was like 23, 24, something like that. Maybe 25. Anyway, around the mid-20s.
That's almost 10,000 sessions.
Oh my God.
But we used to joke. We used to text each other and go 64 days in a row.
10,000 training sessions, and over 5,000 of those are legs, I bet you.
You know what? Between I competed from 16 to 22, 23. Then I didn't compete from 23 to like 30. From 23 to like 28, I didn't train legs in summer because I wanted to fit into the jeans.
Oh, yeah.
What a problem to have.
What a problem to have. But look, Jimmy, give us all, for those who don't know Jimmy, a brief rundown as to your background. Obviously, your competitive career. When did you compete, and what your place, who'd you compete against back in the day as well, and then obviously a little bit about what you do now for a living, and then any funny stories or you've got from your career. Hit us up.
So I did my first show. I want to say 15, but it might have been 16. It was at A&B New South Wales or A&B Sydney, something like that. I competed naturally until I was 22. I won the Teenage Australia Natural with A&B, and I won the IFBB Junior when I was natural.
Did you beat any good names back then?
No, there was no good names back then. Not in juniors.
Okay.
That we looked like shit. Like compared to what they look like now, I would have come dead last. It's just progressed that much. But so after that, I didn't compete until I was probably about 29, 30. And then I did like the WBFF bodybuilding show. And then I did 2 more IFBB shows after that, and I won the New South Wales Super Heavyweight. And the funny story about that, Mark Gretsch thinks that I had a banner made up to post, like predicting that I was going to win, so I could go backstage and post it straight away. But I made the banner, but I posted it before I went on stage.
As a winner,
yeah.
Oh
but it looked like a post because no one really knew the time of the actual show. But I posted it, then I went on stage, so it looked like when I come off stage, I posted it on. So that was my little funny story.
Predicted the win.
Yeah, but so much confidence in yourself.
But seeing like the biggest thing is the change in like quality, and just seeing everyone. Because I had no aspirations of being pro, mainly because my cousin was pro. And
Ivan.
I saw how Ivan, and I saw how good. Like he was the best, one of the best pros we've had, and at his time he was the best.
And the gentleman too, fucking top bloke.
He's a very nice guy, but he couldn't crack it overseas. So I looked at that and I was like, I'm nowhere near that. So I'm not going to bust my chops to try and be pro. So I was a teacher at one stage, and then I went into being a PT, mainly face to face. I've been doing that probably for 9 years now.
And Jimmy, you would be one of the busiest PTs, face-to-face PTs. I know. Like, give us a little idea as to what your busiest day. When does it start? When does it end?
So I get up at 1:30. Then I'll do cardio. I have to do cardio. And then I'll drive down to work, start at either 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And then like today I work till 8 I was gonna work till 8, but I cancelled for this podcast. So but that was before I had my son. I'd do that Monday to Friday and then a half day Saturday. And I've doing that for like 4 or 5 years.
Damn.
So that's fucking.
So that's like 90 to 100 clients easy a week.
That's fucked up.
But now I just work from like 3 until like 12 or 1. So it's like 10 to 12 hours a day. But like that's only a half day to me now. It's easy.
Was the idea behind that to hustle before you started the family so that you could take some more time with the family, or
It ended up being like that. But that wasn't the motivation. Was just like I got fired from being a teacher. We won't go into why, but it wasn't to do with nothing about kids or whatever. Right? It was about the law anyway. So
Fuck.
when I got
kids could be against the law, but yeah, we'll leave that one.
when I got dismissed, I was promised by my principal and whatever that they'd have my back when I went for unfair dismissal because I shouldn't have been fired. And I got to court, paid the lawyer, whatever, and then all my principal colleagues from work, blah blah blah, walked in with the other lawyer. So from on the other side against me. So I was like, motherfuckers! I'm like, why do I want to get back to being a teacher if they don't even want me there? And when I was suspended from teaching, I started the PT company, and I was making as much as I was teaching in that 3 months. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go here where I'm wanted. I won't even worry about that. Didn't pursue the unfair dismissal, walked out of court and went back to work. And then from then on, I've got a chip on my shoulder about that. And that's what kind of built it. And then because I was doing long days, you know what it's like. If someone asks you to train them, I've never said no, whatever time. So then people tell me you work too much, you're not going to be able to sustain it. I'm like, all right, I'll show you. And then they kept saying it year after year, and it just kept getting more and more and more. And I just got used to it. Like it's at that stage, 5-6 years in, and then I really started to take training more serious after I tore my tricep.
Keep talking, Jimmy. I'm just going to share my screen and show your Instagram to the audience as well while you're talking. Okay, so keep talking.
And then so after I tore my tricep, I was like, I bought like all in on another diet while I couldn't train, and then my physique just progressed from there. From when I started training again, and we're like, this is where we are today. But it's going well.
This is the little one.
Yeah, little Apollo.
Aww.
What a sweetie.
So
Look at those cheeks.
Lucky he looks like Mrs. Verdian, brother, because
no, it's just that he looks like her because he's got blue eyes. That's all.
And Jimmy, I'll just mention here as well. I think you're pretty well known with the newbie as well. Is that something that you still use with a lot of your clients, brother?
Yeah, so I've had the newbie for going on like now 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what that catapulted me into like I think I was always a good PT. But that I could say genuinely that you're not a better PT than me if I'm using that newbie. So just because of what it does and then how I use it with people, it was like you can be a really good one-on-one PT, no dramas. But if you're not using that, you can't beat me in this game. Just for what it does, Mike, you've used it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a cheat code to training, and you don't use it. You don't need to use it every session. But what it does for your sessions without it after you use it is absolutely ridiculous for mind-muscle connection, muscle fullness. You get leaner if you train on it regularly, also because you burn more while you're training. But yeah, that sent my business through the roof, and it's like we'll just have a look back. It's really good. You can get them in. You can get them over here now. I brought the first one over. Taught myself on it.
You guys can see here on my screen. I'm just this is
Yeah.
Is Jimmy taking us through the newbie at one gym back in the day? Ruby, those lunges at the end, we had no weight, but Jimmy kept on changing the frequency of the newbie as you're walking. So it's like you were dropping dumbbells and picking up heavier ones. Like it was just
Yeah, so I call that my frequency cluster. So basically, the lower the frequency, the harder your muscle contracts when you got the pads on it. So you can either like do a drop set with it, start as low as like 40, and you can work your way up to 500, or we can climb the hill and make the lunges harder as you go. Also, so like the things you can do with the thing is it's outrageous, and it just saves your joints.
when we did his leg extension, Jimmy, if you remember, I finished and you said that was the hardest set you've ever seen with the newbie. So that's my little claim to fame there.
Like Mike, you train crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at that time, you had a fucked knee as well.
I did.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think because your knee felt good, you were like, fuck it, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see me squatting here, hack squatting, and I think this was at a point where there's no way at all I would have been able to load any weight on a hack squat at that point. And here you can see I'm loading up, 5 plates aside and taking through to failure. So it definitely helped with, I think just forcing the muscles around the knee joint to contract. But obviously I was missing some sort of link there, or there was some injury which was stopping me from contracting those muscles properly, and that was obviously making the knee take more of that just load. And then if we just load the knees up, they're going to fail numbers, because
what happens too is when you get a niggle, like fuck, especially if you're prepping, you're not going to stop training and give yourself rest, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to work through the niggle, and then as we know, the niggle is going to start to travel. Yeah, this part of the leg is going to come and compensate for the knee. Then okay, fuck, that part of the leg or the hammy or the whatever tendon, anything is then going to become stressed under load, and another part of your body is going to compensate for that, and your body just ends up getting fucked up. So the newbie, what it also does is retrain your movement patterns while it's on. So we can do a rehab workout, or while you're training, it kind of just sorts itself out, especially if I'm real specific in the frequencies that I use.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think that I also not a lot of people know that during my prep last year for my Pro Card prep, which I ended up obviously traveling over and doing the pro shows as well, but I actually I did nerve damage to my C3, C4, T4, and I woke up one morning with no impact, nothing nothing to sort of to warn me that this was going to happen. But I woke up and pretty much I didn't have any power at all on my left side. So if you can imagine grabbing some dumbbells and lifting one side, like my right side was normal, but then on my left side I had no strength at all. So I was like normal, nothing. And my tricep was like that too. And I fucking panicked because I was like, I was in shape luckily, which when I got up to food to keep fullness, but I traveled to Sydney twice a week to use the newbie with Jimmy, and just to keep the muscle full, because I couldn't contract the left side, and the newbie uses DC current. The DC forced my pec and my tricep to contract enough that it stayed full, that I could do the show and turn pro and then go overseas. So I don't think that I think that without the newbie, I wouldn't have been able to maintain the fullness as I did through. And even now, I'm still experiencing some. My strength is almost back to normal, but I feel like I'll probably benefit from a session on the newbie with my left side, especially once or twice a week, because I still struggle with that connection to fully contract. The strength is back, but the connection to really squeeze that left side is there, and I can see the difference myself more than anything in the mirror. But I found it definitely had a huge application for that purpose of forcing the muscle to contract. So I think if anyone's obviously in the Sydney area, you train out of Riley's gym, is that right?
Yeah.
Hit up Jimmy for a session, obviously with or without the newbie. If you do have a laggy muscle part, or if you do have an injury, definitely check that out, because it could be a way that you can actually continue training through the injury or potentially rehab that injury faster. So a lot of merit to that with Jimmy as well.
Just to put the context as to how bad you actually were, Mike, you explained it to me. I said, "Yeah, sweet, we'll fix it." I believe I can fix anything, right? I probably can't, but generally, yeah. And so Mike come down. You know the 2.5 kilo plate on the first plate of the cable with no pin in it?
Mm.
Mike couldn't go like this with his bad side.
Wow.
At that point, I was like,
Uh-oh.
yeah, fuck. The fuck we gonna do here?
We thought I was putting it on, but there was fucking nothing there.
No. I could
And
tell
I was
you weren't putting it
frustrated.
on
Like
because
I
you
was
were
fucking like just
pissed.
angry.
You was in a bad fucking mood.
But then by the end, I was getting a pump, so I was like, "Fucking, this is awesome." Yeah, so I obviously
You actually, like, by using the newbie, did that allow you to actually then like load the limb?
We got stronger, right?
Yeah, we did. So like the start, I couldn't do more than 10 kilos dumbbells on a press, like, you know, and I was like maybe 3 reps on the left side. And by the end, I was doing 35 kilos dumbbells each side.
Oh, wow.
That was probably over 3 or 4 weeks to make if
Yeah,
you've come out there as well.
Yeah.
And but the main thing was I could feel the pump coming through on that left side, and that for me was everything because it meant that if I could hold the pump, then I could get on stage and look full enough to continue. So look, there's not a lot obviously in Australia, and who knows what the future of those is. So, you know, Jimmy with one, and you know, there is no one in Australia more experienced than Jimmy on this machine. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's not just get the machine, that's it. You've got to have someone who knows how to use it, because if you don't know how to use it and to adjust the frequencies, then it's fucking, you know, it's useless.
Yeah.
I paid a PT when I first got it. Oh, sorry?
Where do they originate from?
America. So they're like a they're mainly used over there for a rehab machine for people with MS, neurological disorders, that kind of thing. But my catalyst to get it was during COVID, Dexter Jackson trained out of a garage on it for the whole prep. And Mike Tyson used it for his comeback fight against Roy Jones. And he's still using it for this training camp for Jake Paul. So it's that when I saw that, I was like, fuck, I've got to get this thing, especially after I tore my tricep. Battled and got it, and then I put myself through probably 3 months of 5-day-a-week sessions with a PT, just being my fat controller, telling him to put it on this number, turn the dial that way, use that frequency while I was training. Just so that's how I learned how it feels, what to do when someone says this or whatever. So that was like I put a big time
investment into
it, and then trained all my clients for free on it
to learn
for like a month or two, and then it just skyrocketed.
Yeah,
I'll end the up here with that newbie, Jimmy. But I have seen someone with, I think, MS, you know, not walk, but like be wheelchair into Riley's gym. Be real wheelchair to Riley's gym. Couldn't get out of his chair. Like he's that MS is like he can't work out which leg he's moving at what time.
Yeah.
Jimmy straps him up. They do a leg session, and he walks out of the gym.
Heel toe.
Like it's what
oh
the
my
fuck
goodness.
is that?
I got a crazier story. I got a guy from Canberra come up every week. Okay, he had a stroke 3 years ago. Got told by the doctors he'd never walk again. Right. I saw him every week for 12 weeks, and every fortnight for another 12 weeks. Within 6, he was standing up. This present day, his son called me on Monday crying because they just booked his father flights to Italy for 7 weeks.
Fuck.
So he's not in a wheelchair no more. He's walking around with a walking frame. Lost enough weight to be able to travel overseas because he's like $190 or something. So he's lost 60 kilos because
I think that the way you explained it to me, Jimmy, was like if we think of like the nerves from the brain to each part of the body like a hose. And obviously, if the hose has no kinks, then the signal travels pretty smoothly, you know, to and from, if that makes sense. But what happens is we get a kink in the hose, and that stops us from the message being delivered to contract, feel, pain, whatever the fucking message is. So then the newbie reverse sends the signal, so it says, hey, like fucking wake up. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what that feels like now. If that's an easy way to break it down. It just unkinks the hose.
The hose analogy is the best analogy.
Yeah, unkinks the hose, and then you get that flow of information through the nerves, like almost back to normal again. So really, really cool. Laura, just quickly move on to you, but I don't want to keep people too long. But obviously, we'd love to hear a little bit about your background, obviously your competitive career. We know you are obviously a fairly young pro. But yeah, tell us a bit about your career, your experience, what you do for a living now, and what are the future plans for Laura Young?
All right. Well, I started about 2 years ago. My first comp was 2 years ago.
Wow.
I won everything at the Vic show, went on to nationals, won my height class. And then my funny story is I had no idea what a pose down was. So I won my height class and then went off to just walk off and go and have dinner with my family. But then my posing coach ran after me. She's like, you got to go back on stage. And I was like, what? I have to do what? So then I had to go back on stage. Yeah, that was at nationals. Then I had to go back on stage. Didn't win that overall, which was totally fine with me because the first bodybuilding show I'd ever been to was the first one I competed in.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just fell into bodybuilding. I didn't actually mean to become a big bodybuilder, but now I love it. And then my second show that I ever did was when I won my pro card, my second season.
Who encouraged you to try the bodybuilding if you weren't into it?
Well, I was a cheerleader for almost 10 years. And then while I was a cheerleader, a lot of my friends would just say to me, you've just got huge delts and a huge back, huge quads. You should do bodybuilding as well. And because cheerleading is very cardio based, I was like, there's no way I could do both. I couldn't be in such a calorie deficit and flip around and throw people. Like, I hold people above me. If I drop them, they can break their necks. Like, their lives are too important for me to ever think about doing something that could be detrimental to them. So then COVID hit, and my partner at the time had a gym in his garage. So I was like, I'm just going to train for fun, see how much muscle I can build. I ended up building a lot of muscle. And then those
with
same
a coach
friends.
or no coach?
No coach. Just smashed it, trained every day. Well, there's nothing really else to do during COVID. So I was like, let's just train every day, see how much muscle I can grow. Got my calories up to like 3,000 calories and just absolutely smashed it.
I'm just going to share my screen and show you Instagram result. Laura, keep going.
Oh, yeah, I don't post too much. I apologize. But yeah, so went on from there, and then I was like, oh, it'd be interesting to learn a few things from a coach, not even thinking about competing. And then I met Scott. We vibed over email very, very well. And then I think that was September the year before was when I met him, and he's like, oh, we should probably go into a show. You've actually got a lot of muscle. We'll just do a few programs for a few months and we'll see how we go. And then he was like, yeah, I think you only need to do about a 12-week prep. So we did that, thinking about going into either ICN or IFBB. And then as we started shredding back the layers and I was losing weight really quickly, he's like, maybe we should just do IFBB. And so that's what we did.
And the one that I'm showing now, this is from 2022. This is your pro card win in the green bikini. Is that right?
Yes, correct. That was just before we pumped up and everything.
And that's your second show, really. Second prep.
Yep, that was my second prep.
Awesome. And since then, what have you achieved, or what have you tried since then? Have you competed overseas?
Yes, we did pro debut. So
Japan?
went to Korea and Japan, which was awesome. Korea was 2 weeks before Japan. We did a 16-week prep, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Going into Korea, there was a lot that went wrong. The tan was off. The traveling was off. It was so hard to get the right food. The production itself was awesome, but the language barrier was too difficult at the same time. No one really knew what was going on. But then 2 weeks later, we go to Japan. Had so much fun. Body responded great. Got to compete in front of Tyler Mannion and Steve, which was awesome. So got their feedback on it. And yeah, just had so much fun. And now we're about to go back into prep again.
And what's the next show?
We're going to do a few European shows.
Okay.
This time around.
Well, you have to ask Alex all about that, because he's the king of traveling Europe and doing the shows. He's been to.
Oh yeah.
How many shows you done in Europe now, Alex? 4 or 5?
Where is he?
He seems like he's run away for a bit.
Okay, he's run away. That's right. He's just gone off the door. I put it on mute. But I know Alex did a couple of European tours, so so he's got some tips and things on what to do over there. I think he did like Romania and Italy, and Spain, I think also. But just saying, like, obviously you've got look, you come from a competitive background, obviously, cheerleading and very athletic. Obviously, you've got that. I find with bikini and Jimmy, you probably can attest to this. It's like almost classic physique. It's like either you've got the shape for it or you haven't. I think because bikini is a very particular shape. Like it's
100%.
it's hourglass. It's it's I think that's what we find. Some girls can come along with and in their second or third show or even first show, and really almost just beat everyone because if they have that shape and a little bit of muscle, then it shows through. And you've got a tiny waist, Laura, which obviously makes everything else just pop around you. Your delts.
I know, which is so crazy. So when Scott met my parents the first time, he's like, I can see where you get your glutes from because my dad has the largest glutes for a man I've ever seen. And then my mum has really big, broad shoulders. So I've got my mum's shoulders. And I was just lucky that my waist has always been small from cheerleading, always from doing cardio. Both of my sisters have similar body structures to what I have as well. But yeah, I think it's just the big muscle bellies too. So I've got big muscle bellies. They feel out really easily.
Small joints, tiny features, which then makes the muscle around a pop, which is every bodybuilder's dream, just about.
Yeah,
Alex, I was saying that Laura's taking off to Europe next for the next prep shop to hit up you for some tips on how to travel Europe and compete. You've done it a few times now.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I had to duck off, then I had to duck the loo. I'm peeing like a racehorse.
It was right when we were asking you questions.
Oh, was it really? I'm sorry.
I didn't know you were gone. I was like, Alex, and he's like, no answer. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man, just enjoy it. Like, to begin with, it's going to be such an adventure for you.
Was Europe much different to US though? Let's say, Alex, or
yeah, there was lots of differences, but obviously there's lots of similarities, man. I suppose the biggest one is the cultural shock. I assume you know how to track macros, even though you follow a meal plan. You'll definitely need that skill set while you're away. Obviously, you're going to need to.
Is that because of food types, Alex, or
sorry?
Is that because of the different food types that are available?
In some places, there's a lot of places that you can eat pretty well the same as what we do. Whereabouts in Europe are you going?
First one's going to be UK.
Yep, that'll be easy.
And then the next one, 2 weeks after that is Italy. And then, 2 weeks after that's France. And then a week after that's Italy.
Yeah, so I assume that France and Italy will be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Obviously there's going to be the language barrier to begin with. But the cool thing is provided you're staying close to the show, in these types of countries, bodybuilding is so big there. And the people...
I have heard that.
Yeah, and internationally, like Australia's probably the strangest. Internationally, bodybuilding is so well recognized and so well respected. I mean, every pro, any sport that you're involved in at a pro level, people have so much respect for you, and they'll really just go out of your way to assist you and help you. I went to Spain, Romania, and then Tunisia the year before last. Romania especially, I spent a significant amount of time there, and I ended up meeting a couple of guys in the gym, and they drove me around, and they helped me find food that I needed. They took me to supplement stores when my sups actually ran out. They were just so helpful. So definitely spend some time to network in the gym, while you're training. Let people know who you are. And you'll find that it's very, very well received. But I mean, you obviously you're going to experience some hurdles. That's just. But as I said, just have fun with it.
What is the problem? What's the problem with finding food in those countries? Look, this is me being naive, but surely they have chicken, some sort of red meat, and
you'd
rice.
Be surprised that rice is actually challenging to get in some places. So where was it when I was in Tunisia? Rice was actually difficult to get. Spain was relatively easy.
But they don't have supermarkets?
They just didn't have rice, man, in Tunisia.
Can't you have a potato?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So as long as you can know how to swap your sources around, you're not really...
I competed in 2018 in Top Tacoma for a NAC show, NAC. Actually had William Bodak guest posed that show. That's in the top of France, so just on the border of Belgium and France. And I know that at the supermarkets, everything was in French. There was no English at all.
Yeah.
And and they were super rude because like we couldn't talk French, and so they was like basically we don't want to help you at all.
Heard that.
So I was like, it was hard to know where to look,
And that
some
was the
things
same.
were literally
Tunisia
hidden.
was,
Doesn't make
Tunisia
sense.
was
And
the same as
it
well.
was a supermarket, and I had everything there, but like it was just hard to know where to look, and especially if you're like, no, I want jasmine rice or whatever else. You can just grab rice, but it's like if you want to be more specific, it was difficult to find it because they weren't willing to help. If that makes sense.
Remember,
And I did in Cyprus and Greece, and that was really easy. Like it was, they were really helpful, no problems at all. So,
Mike, what about when we were in Thailand as well? We couldn't get rice cakes.
yeah, well, yeah, we wanted rice cakes. We wanted plain rice cakes, and it was really, really difficult to find rice cakes anywhere. Same with cereal. It's like there was no fucking. There was Wheat Bix, but like apart from Wheat Bix, there was no just normal Cocoa Pops or like anything in Thailand. That was and that was in Bangkok, and we went from fucking supermarket to supermarket to supermarket to supermarket trying to find this specific stuff as well. Again, we could have just had rice, whatever else, but no, we want rice cakes. So that's not a plan. So if you are a little bit flexible, you can make it work no matter where you go. Because you're right, Jimmy, they have supermarkets everywhere, and they're not third world countries that you're traveling to most of the time. Maybe Tunisia, I'm not sure there, but it's like obviously supermarkets, so you can have access. But you do sort of need to be a bit sort of resourceful, a bit not afraid to change it up on the go and not panic. I think is the best advice I can give. Like if you don't have it,
enjoy it.
If it's not exactly as what you on your plan, don't be afraid. Oh, yeah, cool. Well, I'm just going to have this instead, or potato to rice, or whatever else the case may be. As long as you're willing to be resourceful and not panic, then you can make it work pretty much anywhere you go. So
that's what we had to do in Korea, because we had to somehow find a supermarket. They had a lot of like 7-Eleven stores, but they didn't have actual supermarkets. So finding just chicken breasts that didn't have any seasoning or weird stuff in it was so hard to find.
Yeah.
So we had to literally
I can't eat beef mince just because of intolerance. So I have to have lamb mince. And like I really want to have lamb mince because it was on my plan. So like I was fucking traveling around in Bangkok and you're trying to find lamb mince, and it's like impossible to find anywhere. So I just had to have chicken every time, which is what it is. I just had to have it. But it's like, again, just trying to find that right butcher. And sometimes I think fish as well. Like sometimes in these foreign countries, unless it looks like a really clean fishmonger or something, I wouldn't be keen to buy the fish from them, if that makes sense, because again, you don't want to get sick obviously that close to a show, and it can be a bit sort of guessy. Like America's fucking easy, expensive, but it's so easy because everything's exactly the same pretty much. Remember when we went to America in 2019, Alex, for your pro win, your pro card, and for some reason we saw on all the YouTubes Regan Grimes and shit going to Whole Foods. So we thought, we have to shop at Whole Foods. And we went there every day to buy shit, right? And every time I fucking tap my card, I get a notification on my phone, $300 spent at Whole Foods. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
What three things?
Couple of things, you know what I mean? Every time. I think we spent literally 10 grand on fucking groceries in a matter of 2 weeks there. Like, because...
You buying Alex's food too?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, but like no matter what it was, we obviously we traveled and T was with us, and I think Tim McKinnon for a bit of the time as well. So it was, look, it is what it is. But when I went back to US the next time, I just went to the normal supermarket because I realized you could. It was actually better because they had just normal shit there, not all fucking organic and Whole Foodsy as well. So again, you live and you learn, and that's the thing about traveling and competing. I'm actually I think I might be going to India next month for a guest pose. Just finalizing the details there, which is pretty cool. Been invited across, and that's like in northern Punjab. So it's like I think it's called Anakarit is the city up there, and so I'm actually pretty not worried.
Like you got taken out. I thought you got taken out, not fucking dropped.
I'm just so excited for you, Mike. I couldn't control myself.
No, I think look, obviously going to India is one place where it's like, well, I'm excited, yes, but also a little bit nervous because it's like, fuck, man, what's it going to be like over there? And again, I'm sure I'll manage it.
It's called Kai Green.
You don't have to worry about rice.
He eats more than anybody.
Yeah. Well, Kai Green doesn't guest pose anywhere more unless it's India. So but hey, if I don't come back with less than 1 billion followers, there's something wrong. Right? That's the.
Hey, like they might not even be all real.
Maybe not. I'll take it. All right, guys. Look, thanks, Laura, for obviously just sharing a bit about your history as well, and best of luck in Europe. Obviously, if you don't follow Laura Check her out on Instagram, Laura A. Young. I think is her Instagram handle there as well. Obviously, follow and support our Aussies on tour overseas. Find the flag because we need more of it.
Yeah, good luck to you boys in prep right now.
Yeah, we're in prep, so it's prep club over here. And Alex and I are actually traveling together this year. Well, sort of traveling together, doing a few shows with the same shows. I think Tampa and Texas. I'm going over a week earlier for Chicago, so we obviously it's really cool to get the band together and to travel. And there's a few of us, Flex, Success, and Aussie boys going over there to do the show. So I think it's cool. Obviously Aussies get out there and competing, and actually the women lately have had some really fucking. We should touch on that. Yeah, I've seen the women lately had some really good results. Like I think the wellness, Alicia, sorry, did amazing in her debut. Obviously Masters and Opens, and then recently as well. I think that obviously Bridget had a good showing in bikini, fourth I believe. And I think we had some figure girls do really well also. So it's really exciting to see the girls getting over there and being really competitive up there at the top level. Obviously, we had Denai last year make it to the Olympia and compete in the wellness and really hold her own. So I think it's time for us boys to catch up and to rustle some feathers over there as well. So definitely looking forward to that. But look, guys, I want to quickly touch on the New South Wales show as well. Obviously, we're going to spend just a quick amount of time here. I'm not going to do every division because there's some people who just every division's the same people over and over again, novice, true novice, etc., etc. But the weight classes and the opens, I think we should touch on as well, and just sort of have a look at and give our opinions to obviously Laura, you were there, I believe. I saw you, so you were.
Yeah.
We ran into definitely there as well. Backstage doing his thing, making sure everyone's on stage on time
and behaving and lining up, being where they're supposed to be.
Yes.
Coming out in you, Jimmy. Is that the school teacher coming back out in you?
Dude, I'm so good at this fucking job. I think so easy.
Jimmy does a really good job because he's been there before and done it. So he knows, okay, this is next. Go here, go there. If that makes sense. When you got someone up there who hasn't done it before, it's not harder, but they don't really know where to go and whatever else. So
it's the blind lead in the blind.
I was a better group get together person than I was an educator when I was a teacher. So it did help. So I can control large crowds and that, and I got a loud voice, and I think as well because they all know me.
Yeah.
When I ask them to do something, they listen because they recognize the voice.
Yeah. And I've been doing it for 5 years now as well, so no one's going to fuck with you there.
And I'm generally more lean than most of them too.
Well, hey, we're not throwing shade at anyone in particular, but look at
that's just a general statement.
Let's look at the men's physique here. This is actually Tony was really, really happy with the quality of the men's physique. He thought it was outstanding. I mean, this winner here of this Open A class, Tavi De Silva, I saw him.
Yeah, Tavi.
Yeah, he looked great. Fucking tiny waist, ripped her shreds through those obliques, and really nice in midsection. Shoulders and arms really good, and a full chest. So I thought he looked fantastic.
Yeah, look at those bubbly shoulders.
Yeah, that's a and that is obviously the beach body physique look. Big arms, big shoulders, bubbly, and then a ripped to shreds midsection. This is the winner of the Open B.
Ryan Hargraves. He looked really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you can see a really nice taper in through the waist. Ripped to shreds through the abs and obliques again as well. Obviously, I think that where he probably got beat was just in the overall development of the arms and shoulders and chest. Because I think that Tavi took out the overall. Here,
in these photos, it doesn't actually give Tavi his justice in how big and dense he is. I don't know if you saw him out the front, Mike. Up close, and also he trains at World Gym at Mark Betcher's World Gym at Marsden Park, and he's trained at Riley's a little bit also. He's so strong, this bloke.
Yeah, okay.
So his muscles fucking proper thick, proper bodybuilding-esque.
And if you look here, guys, for everyone watching at home, let's just say this is second place, Jamie Dash, who also looks great, but look at the difference in their chest. Look at the fullness. And we don't just talk about he looks lean here, but his chest is bursting full, and shoulders pop on top of that. And that's the kind of the difference there as well. Obviously, this is a front on look from Ryan here, but you can see how he doesn't quite have that maturity up through the chest and shoulders that Tavi has.
Also, in when they're both on stage together, Tavi's waist was, I don't want to say half, that's exaggerating, but significantly smaller.
Yep.
Therefore, his proportions, which are stupid anyway, looked even better.
How many shows has Tavi done? Is it his, obviously is he quite experienced?
I know he competed 2 years ago.
Okay.
Whether he's done any before that, I'm not sure, but he won 2 years ago and he won again now.
And look, Jamie's done well. He's obviously got first in the novice, and then he's come up through to the Opens and taken second in a really competitive lineup. So shout out to Jamie as well. Got a good future.
Jamie looks like he could almost do classic. He's got legs.
Yeah, I can see his quads through here. Actually, I was just like, look at those.
I know. Ever since they've changed their shorts to being tight, you can actually see the full physique now. It just finishes it.
Yeah. I think it's nice. And look, obviously, I think that if someone should be given advice to Arnold here on the end, it's like he should probably look at these board shorts and probably change his shorts to similar, just to show some more taper of the leg, of the upper leg, because his are quite loose down around the knee.
Yeah,
you can see that one there as well. So, and again, obviously Ryan with those shorts, obviously really good physique. But Tavi took out the overall there, and like I said, Tony was super impressed. So he's going to make it really, really tough come the Nationals. I know we've got a really good lineup for board short or physique in Victoria. It's always competitive. It's always super competitive because these guys, they look really, really good.
Can you go back to that photo real quick with Tony?
Well.
Can you just comment on how tight Mark's pants are?
His whole outfit.
I did notice that. I saw him before the stage, and he was walking around pretty relaxed. It wasn't in his just in shorts and a t-shirt, and he walked out. And I was just like, "What the fuck? They spray painted on, mate?"
He has got, like, to his defense, he's been training harder for him lately, so I think he's put a bit of size on. But he didn't check his clothing before he came. He just goes, "All right, I want to wear that." That's what actually happened. So he wore spandex for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that in off-season as well. It's not a good look.
Now I'm going to move on here to juniors, and obviously look, Cooper Alush, pretty. Convincing win for him here. He's got a great future ahead of him. Obviously, he competed 18 years old last year, 19 this year, and gets better and better. So I think that obviously there's no doubt if he stays on the trajectory that he is, he's got a really big future ahead of him in bodybuilding. He did classic here, but I think that he also competed in bodybuilding. So he won the junior in the classic physique. You got second and third here. Obviously, I think it's these guys. I think both their first shows as well, so they're doing really well there for the juniors. Moving up through the masters, true novice.
I was going to say structure.
Josh Birch looked okay, I think, for the novice here. I think a lot of us would see Josh around. I think he coaches with Scott Goebel, a team on there as well. And he reminded a bit of Urs, obviously a much younger version, but just in the shape, like you said, the tiny waist. Yeah, and then the quads, and obviously he needs a lot more muscle maturity, but that will come with time. But the shape really reminded me of a bit of Urs. So just a little shout out to Josh there. I thought it was great. Ethan also had his own, and he competed in multiple divisions for the day.
Yeah.
This is the Open Class A. Darcy Pengelly, I think, took out the overall as well. As we can see, Cooper here came in.
I don't know because I live up the coast. I live up Terry, so I don't know them or see them in the gym. I've seen them around at the shows and on Instagram.
David Chijovic, and look, obviously, Jimmy, you're from New South Wales, so if you know any of these guys and you want to talk more on them particularly.
Yes.
Structurally, he looks nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought, look, David probably could have won the whole thing, the overall, but he was just a little unconditioned from behind. And when he stood next to the Open Class A winner,
He steps on it,
Darcy, his condition got him
Structurally,
over the line.
beautiful.
Because
if
he was just
come in sharper,
cleaner and
that's
crisper
a
front to
very,
back.
very dominant structure.
But the thing about New South Wales, obviously, is it's 4 weeks until nationals. So, he had, look at his arms. He's got nice arms, really nice shape, good quads. So, and he could pull a nice vacuum. Pardon? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure who his coach is either, but he, was. I think that there, with probably another 3 or 4 kilos off from the back, is really competitive because he was nice and full, nice and round.
They look better conditioned in real life too.
Had a nice structure.
Yeah,
to his
photos never do them justice.
And then obviously you see here Darcy with the win overall, which I think that on stage, like even though David was a touch bigger than him and a bit more mature, the condition just came through and really got him the win.
There's a stacked lineup coming as well.
Yes, obviously, and that's why it's handy having yourself and Laura here because obviously we were all there. So to see it in person is always different, and that's also why you should all get down to Victoria this weekend and watch the fucking show because in person it is always better. And so you tickets.
Pose, man.
This is a bit of more of Darcy here, so enjoy that one there.
There's a lot of confidence in him.
Bodybuilding junior, so Cooper won that one again as well. And I think Cooper looks great. Obviously, he's got a really balanced physique.
I said there's way more than a lot. I gave him so much shit backstage.
He can pose really well.
To the point.
I thought
and like we were laughing. I was giving him shit. Like I was just teasing him.
What's that?
Only because like he's that confident. So, the next day I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I put that much shit on this kid. I actually inboxed him and just apologized in case I upset him. But he come back with, nah, man, it was all cool. I knew he was taking the piss and having some banter. He's a good kid, man. Like he's gonna be, he's got himself like lined up with Stan. Like Stan prepped him for this show. Like I haven't seen a teenager or a junior pose like he's posed ever. Yeah,
great kid.
So and he's not afraid to like. I don't like. He's going to have a long future because I spoke to him in last year. He competed at like 76 or 77 or whatever. This year he was like 73.
He comes from a breakdancing background, I think. So
rounder, better condition, obviously. Blah blah blah. So I think if he keeps his head the way it is, he's going to be a future champ.
Yeah. Yes. But I think it's also important for these young guys to keep grounded as well, like and not get too ahead of themselves, if that makes sense. Be confident, absolutely. Like go out there and believe in what you can deliver on the stage. But I think it's important in an industry full of narcissists and fucking people who are just so up themselves and full of themselves. It's fucking sickening sometimes. It's important for these guys to keep a really good bunch of people around them to keep them grounded as well. And I'm not saying he hasn't, but I'm saying through his career, to see him stay grounded and stay focused and stay humble is will only give him longevity in the career and bring him more success as well. Ryan Underwood's posing routine was really good. Also, this guy I think he did that routine, which was to I think Gangster's Paradise, a bit of a parody on that. So I thought his routine was fantastic. And he's actually doing all 5 shows this year, Ryan Underwood. So he's traveling all around the country. I know he's doing bodybuilding this weekend in Victoria. So changed it up a little bit. But yeah, his and Cooper's routine were outstanding, I thought. And Cooper, again, I mentioned in another podcast to watch out for, just
if you saw him today,
there was no sign
today he looks like a gnarly
job to clean up as well. So I thought he did great. This guy here, Mars Soleno Joseph.
He's a 14-year-old and a 44-year-old.
You trained him?
Like he fucking loves bodybuilding.
He could have won the whole thing, mate.
That's what he won.
We did.
Mate, if he just learned how to pose and keep his legs on the whole time, he could have won the whole thing.
Schneider, Danny's his training partner and coach. And they come out and we put him in front of the
and you can see it,
and work on a few things, especially from behind. And even like that crab most, the hands clasp most muscular. We worked on a lot of things. If he just keeps improving that and keeps practicing that, he's going to be really good come the under hundreds. Yeah.
Well, he did the Masters here, and then he also did the under
Chris
the
won on
novice,
structure
which
on
he
this
won.
one for sure.
And then he did the he came second to Chris in this one. So I thought like here, like obviously look, Chris, young
Yes.
guy, got a nice shape, great legs.
Yeah.
But Marcelo's conditioning was, I
Yeah,
think,
always has
probably the best of all the men in the lineup for the whole day. If he just learned how to keep those legs on, because they separate more than that. But it was him just actually being connected to him.
They're
and
like
being
polar
mindful of it.
opposites.
Chris
those
is
two,
a
with that leg
Chris's
separation
presentation
and
for
knowing
one
how
of
to
his strengths,
actually
if that makes
turn
sense.
your legs on.
So that's where he overshone. And look, obviously, just he's got nice arms here, and you can see that he spends a lot of time practicing his posing.
He would have won.
But
he was.
But anyway, I thought last one was close. Anyway.
So I was standing over to the left, yeah. So I looked at him from behind.
This guy also,
guy
Benjamin
was
Roberts,
peeled,
I thought
like
he was
Mike Lucy
super
peeled,
close in the overall to taking the whole thing.
His ass was saggy. That's a telltale sign
Yeah,
of
okay.
stuff. Like, and I think that's what lost him the back poses for the overall. Because I watched the overall from the front and I picked him for the overall, but Chris just got him on. I think Chris got him on completeness.
Yes, okay. Flat, yeah. Sure.
More muscle, maybe. Yes. There's 20 kilos between them too, Mike. There's a 20 kilo comparison too. So it's
It was just something overall where Chris was the right decision. Do you know what I mean?
He
it was
was awesome.
It just felt like Chris was the right decision. I don't think anyone would, even though it was
improvements even from the last time he stepped on stage to this time. Oh, night and day.
Yeah, of course. There you go. Moving on to the open lightweights, this is the under 90s here, and I thought that Mitch Clark looked really good, conditioned as well.
When he lived near the gym.
Yeah, he looked really good.
He trains fucking hard.
Yeah, he's gone up a full weight class in 2 years and kept his proportions, kept really tight. So I thought that I was trying to tell him when he hits his back poses, he doesn't open up enough. He pinches back together in his traps, and he loses width from the back, which I think is his downfall when he poses in the overall and stuff as well. He needs to come back, hit the double back bicep, roll his hands back further to show more detail.
I'm saying that
and get that bicep peak coming through to the judges,
immaculate,
and then spread.
I gave him
really
both
show some more width to his back. I thought that was my only knock on him, and obviously it's just on something he can improve on easily before nationals because it's just posing. Yes, really nice. Yeah, 100%. So, and look, he was peeled out of his mind. I think he brought a really good package of fullness and condition. So, shout out to Mitch Clark there. Chris, as we mentioned, our overall winner. I prepped him a couple of years ago, and I thought he was tough to miss out then. He didn't try and make classic weight this time. He just went into the under 100s. Back then, we were trying to suck him down to 83 kilos, I think, on stage. So it was fucking a big suck down. But came in. I think he's also doing Victoria this weekend. So, he can be tighter. He can be tighter from the back. He can be all round. And obviously, look, I think he's got a great shape, so he'll be competitive no matter what he does.
They are open
going through. The super heavies. So I thought that I know Sergio here his idea was to do this show in the super heavies, but he's actually a classic guy, so I'm not sure how he's going to make weight. He must be pretty tall. Yeah. So and obviously, look, I think that Brian was conditioned. His presentation let him down a little bit, just holding certain poses and setting up more. He doesn't have the biggest sweep to his quads from front to back. So he needs to make sure he's flexing in a way that shows the detail and separation and condition all the time. Because if he's not showing that, then he just looks too up and down, if that makes sense. But I thought his back shots were probably the best in the overall, which is why he snuck a couple of votes there as well. And I know that I competed against him a couple of years ago. He's improved since then, and no doubt I follow him online. He loves the sport, so he'll continue improving. Another one of Stan's guys. So shout out to Brian, and then of course we had Chris, who won the overall. He can be fuller through here. You can see here just a little bit flat.
Has Chris got a torn chest?
Through the chest and through the arms.
Has Chris got a torn chest?
Angle. But again, 4 weeks till national, so anything can happen in the overalls. And that was the men's.
Pretty cool to be flex.
Any final comments on the men's, Jimmy?
He didn't look.
Alex?
His chest is very clean.
Yeah, okay.
In person. Yeah.
No, he has no torn chest. It looks like I think it just must be the ankle. There's no tear there at all.
Yeah.
Probably caught him in flex.
Yep.
Yeah, no tear in his chest, but just the angle that we caught on there. But you can see here, he can use some more muscle still through their chest and through their back, but he's young, so it'll come. If no other comments, we'll move on to the women.
Laura, you want to go?
I was going to say, she came out and
Casey,
all of us
who won
seen
true novice and novice in the figure, and then she actually went on to beat
her
a favourite in several, I thought, for the figure.
Yeah,
I prefer Casey, no doubt, so I'm not going to say too much. What did you guys think, Laura and Jimmy,
I
from
was
being
looking
there?
at Sybil outside with Scott because it's one of Scott's girls. And as soon as she took her robe off, I started laughing. And Scott's like, that was my reaction because she just looked insane. And then when I saw, what's her name again? The one that won? Casey. When I saw her come out, I was just like, she's got it. This is hers.
I think Casey's got a better structure too.
Yeah.
But even though the size wasn't there, this is wellness, yeah? No, figure. Yeah, so it was quite evident
Casey?
Backstage, seeing them super close.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw her a couple of weeks ago, Mike, and initially I didn't realize that she was your girl.
This is figure.
But then as I started to talk to her, and
when you started the poacher.
No. As I started to talk to her and she moved through her poses, and then she started to tell me about how she'd been picked to pieces by other alleged experts, telling her, that this was wrong, that was wrong. And I was just like, man, don't overthink it. Whoever's coaching you, and then I realized it was you. I was like, whatever Mike's doing, just keep listening to him. You are absolutely on the right track. And, evidently she's gone through and she's knocked off a top favorite, I suppose. Where's he gone?
I'm here. Can you see me?
No.
Yeah.
I think that I'm just going to share my screen again here. Sorry, guys. So I think that obviously, look, she's 25 years old, world ahead of her as well. I think Seville, just a shout out to Seville. She's got a lot of muscle, a lot of maturity to her physique. So she'll no doubt be, a lot to handle in the future as well. It just comes down to getting obviously matching the condition of Casey in terms of obviously nationals when it comes around again in 4 weeks, how close she gets there, because that's all it really that was the difference anyway overall. So
yeah, for sure.
Interesting. So moving on to wellness now. So again, I'm not sure. I don't really follow a lot of these girls. I haven't seen a lot of these before. I think a lot of new names for me. Laura, Jimmy, have you seen any of these girls at all?
No, I didn't know them.
No, I've never seen them
previously. I think that the majority, except for the overall winner, it was all their first show.
Okay.
And for the first show, they had the majority of the criteria. They posed. They were. I'll tell you, they were all fucking nervous.
Oh, really?
They're all really, really, really nervous. Yeah. Even just explaining the T-walk and that. So because of their first show, obviously, but the overall winner was the only one that had competed before.
Okay.
Mm.
you can
Oh yeah, she
see,
only came out into the open, didn't she?
Yeah,
and look, obviously you can see here quite thick through the lower body. So that's
Yeah.
all what wellness is about. Big legs, obviously proportionate quads to hams to glutes, and then a smaller upper body, not tiny.
she's just got to bring a little bit tighter conditioning, and then she'll just keep
Yeah, I
progressing.
think so.
reckon.
And look, obviously, she would know as well. Looking at who should be competing against in nationals, people like Emily King, obviously, Mel, Anthony's partner, and even Megan, Matt's partner, and she'll need to bring much better conditioning to compete with those girls on stage. But 4 weeks, so anything's possible to knuckle down and to bring your best. Moving on to the bikini now, Laura. This is your field, so we'll let you come on here. Ruby walked away with the junior win.
She was a clear winner for the junior win for me. Her just overall flow shouted bikini. Especially a lot of these girls who came first, you just look at them and your eyes don't quite draw away from them. They keep coming back to them. That's when you know that they're special in what they're doing. So for me and everyone around me who was sitting with me, everyone just went Ruby straight up the bat.
Okay. And I think that Masters, and then this was True Novice A.
Yeah. What's the girl's name? That one?
This was Jamila.
Jamila. Her muscle bellies are beautiful.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Absolutely beautiful. If she comes in just a little bit more conditioned, she reminds me a lot of Coco.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well.
Yeah, when I saw her, I was like, "Is that Coco?" And then I realized it wasn't. But yeah, her muscle bellies. But apparently, having big muscle bellies like that is really hard to get in proper condition in the glute ham tie-in area.
Okay. This is the open class A. So we've got Mel obviously here, and what Katie and Jamila. So Jamila for a first timer came in third in the opens. I think Mel was a bit of a front runner to win this show anyway. I think we mentioned her before, even Alex as well in a little preview. One of James Mack's clients, I think. Ruby went on to win the open class B. So from the juniors up to open class B, and then Mel was the overall. So
Mel,
yeah, I think that
between Mel and Ruby, I think it was pretty clear that Mel I looked at her and I thought straight away she would do, obviously going over and competing in pro shows overseas. I just thought she would do so well in a pro lineup with the physique that she has.
Is that because of her just shape in general, or the maturity? Well, why do you say that?
I think it's just her muscles as well as how lean she can get, because a lot of the girls I competed against, obviously everyone doesn't look as lean in photos as what they are in real life, or shredded or big. So going over there and seeing Mel in person, I was like, she would actually do quite a bit of damage overseas with that conditioning.
Okay.
That's
and look, all in all, I think it was a really good show. We had a lot of I had a lot of fun personally in the crowd and out in the foyer. I think that New South Wales, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here, guys. New South Wales for me always, I think brings a really good crowd, a really good energy for me as a sponsor, and as a fan. It's always a lot of fun to go to this show and to just to be around. So that I think that obviously it's Mark and the team, including Jimmy, and I know Mark has a lot of the family involved, and that really comes across in the show. It does feel like a family affair, if that makes sense at all. Personally, it's one of my favorite shows of the whole tour. What do you think of the whole day, Jimmy?
I always finish and say I hated it, but this one specifically, ran real smooth. This was me and Tony got a running personal joke on stage. It's like, how many fuck ups do we do? It was very low this year. Tony always loses, but because the show was obviously lighter with competitors this year, but for the last 5 or 6 years, however long we've been doing the Sydney show, it's just been growing and growing and growing. Season A and then season B, sorry. More competitors. So there had to be a drop off, and I think because of season B, season C, that's what would have caused the drop off with overall competitors this season in Sydney, because you can't just keep going up.
I think
forever,
that 110 competitors and 200 something with crossovers was actually like
so that's half. That was like half season.
Yeah, I
B
think that it was actually like it was enough competitors for it to be a comfortable show where no one was chased around like headless chooks.
Everyone was
they weren't being rushed off stage and like, next, okay, get off. So everyone got to do their routine. Everyone got their time on stage. Everyone got a couple of call outs and a couple of call throughs. So, and all you want as a competitor,
we were cruising backstage.
All you want as a competitor is a chance moved around and a couple of go throughs, because sometimes to prep all that time for what feels like half a call out on stage because they rush you through your poses is a bit deflating. So everyone felt like, for me, they got their chance to show what they had, and obviously and the way it was.
And they did good comparisons too this year because they had time, obviously, but it made it felt like they were getting compared proper. Like there was some battles going on, and like for most of the categories, top three was close, and top three were quality. So, man, like the show was good. We all left like happy with a smile. All the competitors seemed to have a good time. Hopefully, we do try to make it as easy for them as possible, as in terms of timing and stuff like that. And we could be pretty much spot on with our timing this year. And a lot of the guys that I know personally, they could like just come in at their own time because I know they were there. I gave them a heads up, and the whole show just keeps running smoother and smoother. I don't know what the other shows are like in other states, but I think it makes it. That's why we get a lot of people coming from other states, and it's because the
look
show
when you come to New South Wales, you see the same faces every time, and that shows in the way it's run, because you guys work better and better each time together as a team. So it's like, well, and that just keeps coming through. Everyone from the music was fucking spot on this time. I don't think anyone got the wrong music. Lighting was really good. And tans, Andy, obviously Pro-Tan does a fucking amazing job anyway. Shout out to Andy and the whole Pro-Tan team. Make sure that's the only place you get your tans done, fucking, if you're competing, because if you don't, then there was a couple people on stage in I think from the previous season who you can really tell when they haven't got their tans done by Pro-Tan. So make sure you only use Pro-Tan. But they do a great job. Obviously the music was done. Everyone was sort of on time in terms of getting out there, and so it shows. Same team over and over again. You guys work better and better together, and at both as a fan and as a sponsor myself, it was really enjoyable to be there. I know they talk of a new venue, but even at the Science Theatre, it's still a lot of fun to be there and to be a part of the whole show. So, Laura, what was your sort of thoughts on the day? Final take.
I thought it was good. It actually, ever since they've changed it to where they do the lineup first and comparisons and then routines, even in last season, it just runs so much quicker.
What do you guys think of the physique first this time?
They did that last year too.
Okay.
Yep.
I
I've been vocal that I don't like it.
We know why.
What do you normally have first?
Normally it's physique, bodybuilding first.
Oh, really?
But in saying that, we can be pretty spot on with the times. So, the show started at 10. I told the bodybuilders, be ready. We're going off. They'll start at 12. So, the physique classic bodybuilders, the bodybuilders knew they were starting at 12. I don't know what it would be like in other states or with busier shows. But it's always.
I think Victoria's about 95, 96 competitors, so similar-ish. With under. So obviously again everyone should get their time on stage and whatnot as well. And then obviously Victoria's normally a good show as well, to be honest. I like the Melbourne venue. I've been there multiple times.
They run it pretty smoothly there. The backstage area is also really good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I think that
that's the one thing Queensland and Melbourne have got over Sydney is the comfortability backstage.
Yeah, I think the lack of the obviously no stairs and shit like that, which is probably just you don't feel so squashed backstage.
Yeah.
And look, Melbourne's huge. Obviously, the Kingston, it's so big backstage. It's fucking like, and you walk out and the stage is right there. So I think that all in all, really, really positive as well. But I'm looking forward to it. Are you obviously you're not coming down for Victoria, Jimmy? Coming down for nationals or?
Nah, I always come down for season like the last season of the year. I wanted to, but I just got back from holiday with the family, and I'm tired. I went straight from the airport straight to the comp pretty much, and I'm tired. So I just want to try and get back into my routine here.
Yeah.
Get some body fat off and
fully get that. What about you, Laura?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be the trophy bitch again.
You live in Victoria, New South Wales?
Victoria.
You live in Victoria. Okay. Where do you train?
I train at Iron Kingdom.
Up north. Right?
Preston. In Preston.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. Yeah, because I've seen you in New South Wales. I've seen you in Victoria. I was like, oh, where does she live? Where does she train? I haven't seen
No, I'm Victoria. New South Wales, I wasn't planning to go up until the day before. I was like, screw it. I'm booking a ticket. I'm going.
Nice, sick. Awesome. And is that what you, sorry, I've been to ask you before as well. Do you coach? Is that what you do? Or do you work outside of bodybuilding or?
No, I actually work in a venue.
Okay.
So I do all the functions, booking, marketing, back of house stuff for a venue.
Yeah, which venue is that?
Fitzroy Beer Garden.
Okay, sick. Awesome. So working events, nice. It's actually it's cool to talk to someone who's a bodybuilder but works outside of bodybuilding as well, because so many of us get sucked into the vortex of coaching and
yeah, that was one thing that Scott first said to me. He was just like, you work in a venue that sells alcohol. I don't think that's going to work. Like, I don't actually drink, so it won't bother me too much, but a lot of it is to do with being around food. I do a lot of food shoots as well and everything, so you become pretty good at not wanting to eat food.
Yeah, well, it's like, souvlaki shop owner rarely eats souvlakis or kebabs. You know what I mean? It's kind of like...
Yeah, it's literally that you just associate it with work, so it doesn't even faze you.
Yeah, absolutely, sure. So you'll be there. Great. I'll see you there. Make sure you come past the Undefeated booth. And
I will. I saw you got new jumpers. They look awesome.
Yes, we got some...
the shirts are cracker.
Yeah, every year yours looks so
Appreciate
good.
your support, Jimmy. Made sure we had a extra small for you of the day. So 4XL only. Did you try the shorts?
Yeah, I wore the shorts like for the first 2 days of the week.
Now, look, honestly, I put a lot of time and effort into designing the merch. Not to plug myself here, but it's a real hobby of mine. I make no secret the fact that I'd love to have a real online presence with the brand and start a real clothing outside of everything else that I do, not just associated with IFBB. But I try and I design everything from scratch myself. The fits, the lengths, the sleeves, the designs, down to the weight of the fabric and the blend of the fabric and whatever else. So, and the really rewarding thing is when people buy one shirt, they come back and say, "Oh, can I get the other shirt because it's a sick fit?" Or they buy another pair of the shorts or whatever else. And even online afterwards, people message you and say, "Hey man, I got some shorts at the show. Can I get the other color or whatever else?" So I really appreciate all the love and support, obviously, from everyone. We did get the hoodies dropped today. They were held up by customs, but they came in today, and they again, not to plug myself, but when they go on, they just fucking feel like they hug you. Do you know what I mean? They're a 320 GSM, custom cotton poly blend, but they just fucking fit real nice. We use this special wash treatment in China in the manufacturing process that makes them a little bit softer, so they don't peel when they wash and they don't shrink anyway. So it's I'm pumped to get those out there as well.
I have to organise you to send me one tomorrow.
Make sure I get your 4XL for sure, brother. But they're so can't wait to release those at the show. We'll actually be at registrations tomorrow with them, and then at the show and through nationals. So yeah, make sure you come past the booth, Laura.
I will. Do you normally sell out?
We do normally sell out. We did last year. I think we've got a few 3XLs and 4XL random ones left, but we normally sell out of most of them. So. But we'll have them this time. I'll have to send you.
I'm going to need a 4XL as well.
4XL, done. I'll make sure I have it for you. Alex, I'll see you up in Queensland and we'll sort you out with some merch as well. Big dog.
He's only classic. He's got an XL.
What's that? XL?
XL for the
XL.
classic.
Yeah, I've got his classic bikini too. I'll bring that up with you.
I don't think I've got anything under 3XL anymore. I wish I still fit small clothes.
You got a.
We had this discussion though, Jimmy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, someone,
I gave you.
someone came up to the show, Jimmy, and tapped him on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Goes, "Are you Jimmy?" I said, "What the fuck? No." Right?
Fuck.
He goes, "Oh, there's two really wide people here. It's you and Jimmy." I'm like, "Okay, fuck it."
We look totally different. He's the one with the big.
Anyway, I thought fucking that's a compliment for one of us at least. Anyway, I'm not sure who, but it's a.
Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment. When I get compared to Mark Gretsch, fuck, that's an insult.
That's an insult.
Bad. What, did I lose 30 kilos on the dime?
All right, guys. Well, look, let's wrap it up there. Really appreciate having all of you on for the show for episode 3. And we'll make sure that we get you guys back on in the future as well. Maybe Laura, after you compete, or maybe close to your comps, we can get you on and give us an update as to where you're at, and even while you're overseas and stuff. And Jimmy, we'll get you on, no doubt, as a semi-regular.
Whenever you want,
semi-regular, because we love the banter, we love your input as well. But look, massive love to you guys for jumping on with us. Alex, I know you've got a sick loved one, so we'll let you go and get to tend to her. I will make mention though that pro card is positioned perfectly above your head,
isn't it?
So it's a nice little flex there. The pro card.
Big flex.
Apparently, Laura, she was telling us before, she had hers ripped off her and hasn't gone it back. So you might have to get her one printed and send it up to her as well.
I know, I'm going to annoy Tony for one.
Got an annoying one. Mine's orange though. I've got an orange one.
You had orange. What was mine? Mine was purple.
Mine was orange. Anyway, what color was yours, Jimmy?
I'm going to draw one in the back of the wall.
Those are stuffed in the closet somewhere.
All right, guys. Massive love. Obviously, everyone who's watching, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. Obviously, we appreciate all the input. We'll obviously come to you guys next week to review the Victorian results. And obviously, look, comment down below anything else you want us to talk about and discuss. I really would want to make some time next week for an open Q&A so we can answer some questions even as well. And I am hoping to get a judge on here to do a bit of a Tyler Mannion style, recap of some results so far as well. So hopefully we'll make that happen. But stay tuned as always. Much love. Peace out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.